launching cloud and cyber into low Earth orbit. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Rob Meyerson, operating partner at C5 Capital and executive producer of Ascend. Welcome back, Rob.
Thank you, Tanya. It's great to be back.
Give us a quick summary of your professional background as it relates to low Earth orbit.
Well, sure. Low Earth orbit's it's a big place, and I have been in the space industry for 30 years. I started at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, and I'm proud to say I was a NASA co-op. So while I was in college, I got to work at NASA in a series of internships and met a lot of great people who are in the industry and that I still know today. Worked on the space shuttle at NASA and primarily in aerodynamics and re-entry systems, re-entering from orbit back to Earth. And since leaving NASA in 1997, I moved up to the Pacific Northwest, the Seattle area, and I've worked for Kistler Aerospace. And then I joined Blue Origin in 2003. And at that time, Blue Origin was really a startup and about 10 people. And I worked directly for Jeff Bezos as president and led the company through development of multiple vehicles and engines, and resulting in the development of New Shepard, which is a suborbital vehicle that flies to space and comes back and lands on Earth. And we built a liquid rocket engine business, which serves Blue Origin and other customers like United Launch Alliance. So.
You spent your career looking for new ways to utilize space.
Mhm.
How might low Earth orbit be used to advance data storage, compute, and cybersecurity?
Well, that's the key thing about what I've been doing since I left Blue Origin. And I left Blue Origin because I wanted to have a bigger, a broader impact. And that led me to the venture capital community in C5 Capital, which led to our investment in Axiom Space, which is one of the leaders in the commercialization of low Earth orbit. Axiom Space is based in Houston, and they are developing the successor to the International Space Station. So they're going to start with a module that they'll launch in 2024, and then they'll add more modules. And then by the end of this decade, when this International Space Station is retired, Axiom will separate their Axiom station and have their own free-flying space station in low Earth orbit, serving both government and private and foreign government customers. So it's going to serve businesses as broad as corporate research to manufacturing to marketing and entertainment to space tourism with private and professional astronauts. And then I believe it can serve a purpose helping all the other users, all the other developers of data in space applications, helping them to process that data, store it, and do computations on it to help us make faster decisions. So, and I'd love to go more into that if I can. So,
Please do.
You got it, Tanya. So what I mean by all those other developers of data in low Earth orbit, things like GPS or telecommunications, or even Earth observation, like satellites that look at our climate, look at our weather, look at our things that we're doing on Earth that affect all those things. So many of those things they're already being served by satellites. That data is being generated in space, and I believe it's part of our critical infrastructure. So right now that data is being beamed back to Earth, which is the critical path. I mean, it's the slowest link back down, and then it may be processed on Earth and then beamed back up into space and transmitted back to some other place on Earth for somebody to use that. The information, the analysis that's been done on that data, the decisions that are being made. So if you consider, a military application, a commander in an area on the other side of the Earth, they're using satellite data. That satellite data is being sent down to some processing center in the U.S. and then it's being beamed back to that battle commander, that can take seconds or even minutes to get that data around the Earth. By doing that compute in space, we can speed those decisions up and we think make better decisions. And we can do that in so many different ways. Financial transactions, all kinds of other weather forecasting, which is primarily using space assets. So we think this is going to be an important part of that critical infrastructure. So, and we think Axiom can serve a big role in that. So.
Storing and processing large amounts of data takes lots of energy.
Mhm.
How would we address that challenge?
Well, so that challenge can come about. I mean, in space, number one, storing, computers require cooling. Space is cold. It's simplistically, but it's already cold. But you do need energy to process that, and you can get that from the sun, from solar arrays. The space station has a large power plant, which is generated, via solar arrays that are deployed. So we can do it that way. We can also do it with small, nuclear reactors, which are other sources for space power as well. And NASA happens to have a big initiative right now in developing sources and technologies for surface power as part of the Artemis program going back to the moon. So.
On the cybersecurity side, what's the competitive advantage offered by low Earth orbit?
Well, I would start with what's the competitive advantage offered by, having a rigorous cybersecurity program, number one. So for the space industry, like at C5 Capital, we have a strong cybersecurity profile portfolio, and space is a relatively new area of focus for us. So what we can bring to companies like Axiom Space and other companies that we invest in is that the complementary nature of the companies in our portfolio that are focused on all aspects of cybersecurity and helping other companies that we bring into the portfolio in the space sector and others, helping them, number one, lock down their processes here on Earth, lock down their supply chain, support support their supply chain, and then transmit to all the data sources that we're relying on that are coming from space need to be secure. And so providing those, for example, if we process data in space and don't transmit it back to Earth, then we don't have, the security of that link between space and Earth is not, it has less chance of being hacked, basically. And so I believe that I believe that processing the data and then bringing those decisions back is a worthy alternative for us. So.
Who are the players that will help invent space as a service?
Well, I think the answer to that is it's almost infinite. There's so many different players that can get involved in this, and first off, it's building the real estate in space to serve all these different customers, and that's where Axiom Space comes in. Companies from hospitality to technology to hyperscale data center type companies to telecommunications. And then you get into agriculture, pharmaceuticals, and others. So if I'm a pharma company and I believe competitive advantage to improving a process or developing a new process in the space environment, whether it be microgravity or hard vacuum, the importance of securing and protecting that data is part of my intellectual property. It's a critical process. It's a competitive advantage for us. So making sure that customer is able to secure that data is really important. So with Axiom Space and our other companies in our portfolio, we want to make sure that we have the best in class cybersecurity offering.
So, what are the next steps to putting cyber and the cloud into low Earth orbit?
Well, I think we need partners. We need partners that look at this um, as a viable next step, like I do, and we're working with those now. Uh, the International Space Station is a certain size. It's a very large structure, but it's really limited by the number of users that are up there, and it's limited by the number of international partners and what they want to pay. So when I look at a private um, uh, space station in low Earth orbit, like the one that Axiom Space is building, uh, it's only limited by the customers and what applications that they want to put on it. So the idea of having a data center in low Earth orbit is a very viable one, and it's a matter of finding that right partner to go build on that. So
All right, Rob, tell us about the Ascend conference you have coming up later this year.
well, yeah, last year when we spoke, we were kicking off Ascend, and we had our inaugural year in 2020. We had Ascend stands for Accelerating Space Commerce, Exploration, and New Discovery, and it's the only event that's focused on building our off-world future. So, as the executive producer, I'm involved in bringing in, helping to formulate the event and bringing in the right speakers and the right leaders to come and talk about this great industry from commercial, civil, and national security space, as well as those coming from the adjacent industries, like the ones I just mentioned, pharmaceuticals and agriculture, telecommunications, and construction, and many others. So Ascend will take place live this year in Las Vegas on November 15th through 17th. We have a number of virtual events that are happening beforehand, including our June 15th summit that is going to be announced here shortly, and we're just excited about the thousands of people that we attracted last year, bringing them back this year, and growing that community even further. So, thank you for asking.
Of course, excited to hear more about it. Rob Meyerson, operating partner at C5 Capital and executive producer of Ascend. Thanks so much for joining us again, Rob. If somebody wants to follow you personally, how can they do that?
I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so LinkedIn, Rob Meyerson. So,
Thanks again, Rob.
yeah, thank you, Tonya.
And find and subscribe to more of my interviews right here on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or at tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.